Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. And today I just want to do a video talking about propagation and how I prefer to propagate my plants. So you might be wondering, what is propagation and how do I propagate? So basically, propagation is where you take a cutting from a plant and you grow its roots in a particular medium. So there are a few different ways that you propagate, but I generally go between water propagation and sphagnum moss propagation. I do prefer to go with sphagnum moss because I've found that I get faster results and the roots are usually a lot stronger than what they are in water. I find that propagating in water, the roots are a little bit weaker. So when you do plant them in soil, sometimes they struggle a bit. So I find that doing it in moss is a lot better for the root strength. So basically with most plants, you want to be cutting below a node. So for example, if I was to propagate my micans here, I would cut below the node. So the node is this part just here where the leaf connects to the stem, just slightly below the node. There's a ghost in my house. So basically you just want to cut just underneath, not too far down. You want to cut a little bit closer to the node, but cutting just below it, just leaving a little bit of the stem. So basically the roots will form from the node. So propagation is a really good way if you want to multiply one plant. So if you have a plant that you really love and you're worried about, if it dies, you won't be able to replace it. Well, if you just take cuttings from it and propagate it, you can make multiple plants, and then that way you have more than one of your favorite plants. I actually did take a small cutting off this one here, which is propagating in here, which I will show you in a moment. So my favorite method of propagation is propagating in sphagnum moss. So this is my setup here. So basically what I have done is I have grabbed a storage tub. You can just get them from the dollar store or, Kmart, Big W, that kind of thing. Any kind of discount store will have them. They're not very expensive. I think, you probably pay $4 or $5 for them. And what you want to do is make sure to get one that has a lid. So what I have done on mine is I have gone and I've put a couple of holes down the side of the container, just using a drill. That's just for aeration purposes. Okay, and so what I have also done here is I have bought these dish racks from Kmart. So basically I have just got the sphagnum moss sitting right on top of those dish racks. That way the sphagnum moss isn't sitting directly on the bottom of the tub, so that there is some kind of air circulation going through the container. And I've also got these little dishes down the bottom here filled with some water. I have one in the corner and one in the other corner, and that sort of just helps with the humidity. So what you want to do is make sure that the moss is not soaking wet, but nice and moist. So what I just do is every day I will come here and I will mist over the plants and the moss, just to make sure that the moss doesn't dry out and that it's staying nice and nice and moist. So I like to just make sure that I keep the lid on this pretty much all the time, just so I can keep the humidity contained within the tub, because the humidity is what is going to help the root growth. Hey, it's Editing Maddie here. I totally forgot to mention while I was filming that you need to put the propagation box in a brightly lit warm spot, and that will give you the best results. So that's pretty much my setup. It's pretty simple. I mean, it's all pretty inexpensive. It's literally a $4 or $5 storage tub, a couple of, $4 dish racks, Sphagnum moss, I think you can get a small bag for about $10 at your local hardware store. And then the little dishes that I have in the bottom are literally just these plastic little saucers that I use when I water. So I just have the two of them placed down the bottom full of water. So yeah, it's a really inexpensive way to propagate if you're interested in getting into propagation. I'll actually show you a couple of things that I have in here that I've had propagating for a couple of weeks now. So this is a Philodendron horsehead. I can't remember the scientific name, but I'll put it on the screen here somewhere. It starts with B. Yeah, I have no idea. So this was my dad's that he actually had for about 30 years, and he let me cut it up and bring it home. So since having it, I think I've had it for about 3 or 4 weeks now. This is the root growth that it's put out since propagating. I had this one in water for about a week, but I just found it wasn't propagating fast enough because I'm really impatient. And then I ended up putting it in the sphagnum moss, and you can see that the roots have just gone crazy. So that's one plant. I'll also show you this because it's super cute. So this is a tiny little cutting that I took off my Philodendron micans because I noticed it had a little stem with a node on it and it had nothing on it. So I just decided to snip it off and propagate. And look at that tiny little leaf. Oh, it's so cute. And it is a Philodendron micans. It's obviously very juvenile. So it looks a little bit different to the other ones that I own. But how cute is that? It's so small. So that one doesn't have a lot of root growth on it because I think it's been focusing too much on pushing this leaf out. That the only root it has is a tiny, tiny one. I don't know if you can see it. I hope you can see it. It's got a tiny little one just there. You need to just focus on your roots. Stop putting out leaves. You silly bugger. Okay. And another one I'll show you here, which is really exciting, and I'm sure you're all keen for an update, is my Philodendron Gloriosum. So I did have to sacrifice a leaf. Originally it had a bigger leaf, but it ended up going yellow and dying. So I did a sacrifice. I sacrificed the leaf to the leaf gods and they praised me with root growth. Pretty much soon after I cut that dead leaf off, the roots have just started to shoot, and I'm very, very happy that it finally has roots growing, because there was a moment there I was a little bit worried that I was going to lose you. I thought I was going to lose you. So that is very exciting, and I think I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it in here for as long as I can until it's got a really good root system, because there's no way in hell I'm going to put that in a pot until I know that those roots are going to be solid AF. So this is where you're going to live for now, okay? There is a gnat flying in there. Get out. Get. Go away. I've also got a couple of Philodendron Brazil cuttings, as well as a satin pothos, a Philodendron heartleaf cutting, and I have this random weed, I think, that randomly popped up in my micans pot. I have no idea what it is. If anyone knows, let me know. It's probably just a weed, and I'm just propagating a weed because, you know, that's what you do, isn't it? So that is my propagation box and how I prefer to propagate. If you can let me know in the comments below what your preferred method of propagation is and what you find works best for you, I'd really like to know. So leave a comment down below. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Head on over to my channel and subscribe. And until then, I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys. Standing up is hard when you're old. Oh, my foot. Oh my God, I can't feel my body.